Good afternoon, everybody. It is Sunday, March 22nd, 2020. Here we are in our 7th day of our isolation experience. How are you all doing? I find myself in my office this afternoon, catching up on a little bit of work. I had some editing that I had to do for an upcoming article in the AMC magazine, and I have to pull together some blurbs for the new book that's coming out. And thank you, by the way, to all of you who have written blurbs. It was very kind. They all have come back great. So I'm trying to find, time around the responsibilities of home and around Uma being home. She's the priority here. And, when I can fit a few hours here or there, and I grab it. So that's what we're doing this afternoon. I wanted to mention a couple of things. One is a couple of folks have asked me, what we're if we're doing homeschooling or whatever we're doing. I mean, she's pre-K, so it's not super formalized, but we do have a routine because I would go insane if we didn't have a routine. And I also do want her to keep up with her, alphabet, her letters and her numbers and all that stuff. And I want her to learn things through all of this. So there's 3 places that we do go to daily that she enjoys. That takes up a little bit of time and space, and it is fun and educational. The first is we do every weekday at 10 a.m. the Atlantic Great White Conservancy in Massachusetts. They're basically a shark aquarium, a shark museum, does a kid's book reading and a little educational half an hour where they talk about stingrays or sharks or all sorts of things, and Uma loves that stuff. So that's really cool. That's 10. And then Mo Williams, who is the author of the Elephant and Pig books and the Pigeon books, does a weekday daily doodle, lunchtime doodle, he calls it, up on his YouTube channel. It's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And he talks about inspiration, and he talks about his books, and then every time he does a practice doodle, and her and I, we set out you've seen this in my other videos. We doodle every day, and we learn how to draw through Mo Williams, he's a great teacher. And then the Cincinnati Zoo, also every weekday at 3 o'clock, does a sort of a meet one of the animals type of thing, where they'll go and they'll, it was an anteater, and then it was a porcupine, and then it was a sloth. The sloth, Uma loves the sloth. That was the fun one. And that's about, a half hour. You learn about a specific type of animal. And this is the same type of thing. They have books and worksheets. And so those are the 3 things that we try to do routinely, every day. And there's a ton of other stuff going on. A ton of other local stuff going on, too. I've noticed that a whole bunch of local artists and musicians and writers are doing readings and in-home concerts. Uma and I are big fans of Hank Osborne, who's a great local musician. He did a concert the other day, and I think it's still up on his Facebook page. You should check that out. It's great. If nothing else, just music to play in the background. These are local people who can't get in front of audiences, much like myself. So this is our way of doing it. So give them some support and some love. And down below here in the about section, I put all the information for my bookstore and my website and all of that good stuff. So so there's that. Moving forward, I'm also often asked, I've been a journalist for most of my career, so as far as getting information goes, we're all sort of running around with our hair on fire because it seems like legitimate information is is harder to find now. You have to wade through all these memes and all of this fake news and all of this other stuff, all this ideological news. And so I can only tell you what I'm doing. I have there's a friend, an associate, an AP reporter down in Australia. His name is Derek Rose that I know, and he's a fantastic journalist, and he's really great at collecting and condensing information every day. He puts out a little sort of worldwide report with some numbers. There are, right here in New Hampshire, everybody has a state rep or more than one state reps. Find yours. Some of them are putting up daily numbers reports for just the state, what's, just facts for the state, what's coming out and how many people are being tested and all that type of stuff. And that's great. And, the CDC, just go to the CDC's website. That's where the scientists are. That's where the people who are on the front lines of this are trying to do the best that they can. I just saw a note from Elliott Hospital, which is our local hospital here. Elliott Hospital, of all places, our major hospital, the one that's only about a mile from us. And they just put out a request to the community for supplies. They're running out of supplies. We live in a society where the hospitals have to, in a time of emergency, have to ask us for hand sanitizers. So that's where we're at. Ignore the memes, folks. Ignore all of that nonsense, all the noise that's coming in through social media. If it's not cited, or if it's a wildly left or right ideological place that it's coming from, just ignore that stuff, man. You don't, find a reporter or two or a scientist or two that you trust, that you've read or listened to before, and focus on that. Focus on the handful that have their nose to the grindstone and that are doing the putting in the 20-hour days. And I'm happy if drop me a note or whatever, and I'm happy to leave some of those if you're interested in at least for me, if you're interested in any links to some of the places that I've been following, just let me know. And so that brings us to what we're going to read today. I talked yesterday a lot about, and the same is true when you're looking for information. Find the people that care. Lean in close to the family, and to the people that give you support, and to the people that you know and who know you, and that we got to lean on each other, even if it's digitally, to get us through this. And I found a poem by the great Spanish poet Pablo Neruda that talks almost exactly about this. He wasn't talking about a pandemic in this poem, but what he was talking about is in times of crisis, whether that's a crisis, a cultural crisis, or a geographic crisis, or a crisis of the heart, which is what all of us are going through in some way, to reach out to the people who are closest to you. That's your firewall. So, here's the poem. This is called With Her by Pablo Neruda. Oops. This time is difficult. Wait for me. We will live it out vividly. Give me your small hand. We will rise and suffer. We will feel. We will rejoice. We are more the pair who live in bristling places, in harsh nests in the rock. This time is difficult. Wait for me. With a basket, with a shovel, with your shoes, and with your clothes. Now we need each other, not only for the carnation's sake, not only to look for honey. We need our hands to wash with, to make fire. So let our difficult time stand up to infinity with 4 hands and 4 eyes. Reach out, folks. There are people out there who love you. And with them we can get by. One last thing, another great quote that I came across before we sign off that I would add from Saul Bellow, the great writer Saul Bellow, which is this: readiness to answer all questions is the infallible sign of stupidity. Readiness to answer all questions is the infallible sign of stupidity. If there's somebody out there who claims to know it all, they do not. On that you can be guaranteed. It's okay to, none of us have all the answers right now. Not a single person. So just remember that. All right. Let's get this new week started. We are right back at it tomorrow on Monday. Take care of each other. Stay close. Wash your hands. And I will see you in the morning. Bye-bye.